Henry Winkler was never meant to be the star of Happy Days, yet somehow he became its soul. The heartbeat of an era, and the face of cool that defined an entire generation. But behind the laughter, the jukebox, and the slick leather jacket was a world nothing like the one America saw on screen. Producers enforced strict rules. The network kept a tight leash, and Henry Winkler was living under a spotlight that cast some very long shadows. Long before he became the Fonz, Winkler was a struggling kid from New York City battling an invisible enemy: dyslexia. He couldn't read well, couldn't keep up, and was labeled lazy. But when he stepped on a stage, something changed. Acting gave him what the classroom never could: confidence, freedom, and purpose. After training at the prestigious Yale School of Drama, he set out to make it in Hollywood. Broke, determined, and ready to take any job that came his way. Then came an audition that would change everything. Gary Marshall was casting for a new sitcom about the 1950s called Happy Days. They wanted a tall, tough Italian type. Henry Winkler was none of that. But when he walked in, he didn't act tough. He was tough. He owned the silence, delivered his lines with swagger, and when asked to comb his hair, he refused, muttering a simple "Hi" that instantly became television history. That moment created the Fonz. And America was never the same. Almost overnight, Fonzie went from background character to cultural phenomenon. The leather jacket, the motorcycle, the thumbs up, they all became symbols of effortless cool. But fame came with chains. The studio had one disturbing rule: Henry Winkler could never appear in public as the Fonz. They wanted the mystery alive. No talk shows, no charity events in character, nothing. He had to keep Fonzie locked behind the screen. Imagine being loved by millions for a character you weren't even allowed to be. And it didn't stop there. Network executives even tried to limit how often Fonzie could wear his leather jacket, fearing it sent the wrong rebel message. So the producers came up with a genius fix. They kept a motorcycle in almost every scene, just so the jacket stayed necessary. What started as censorship became legend. That same jacket now lives in the Smithsonian, a piece of American history born from a fight for creative freedom. But the pressures behind the scenes grew heavy. When Ron Howard, Winkler's closest on-set partner, left to chase his directing dreams, Henry felt like his world had collapsed. Others followed, leaving the show that once felt like family. And when Happy Days finally ended after 11 seasons, Winkler discovered that the very role that made him a star had also trapped him. Hollywood didn't want Henry Winkler. They wanted the Fonz. For years, the phone stopped ringing. He once called that time psychic pain. Fame turned prison. It wasn't until decades later that Henry learned the truth about his struggles. He had lived with undiagnosed dyslexia all along. That revelation didn't break him. It liberated him. He poured his pain into writing children's books about kids with learning challenges, helping thousands of young readers find hope in their own stories. And slowly, he rebuilt his career, producing MacGyver, starring in comedies like The Waterboy, and eventually reinventing himself again with his Emmy-winning role in HBO's Barry. Henry Winkler's journey is more than a Hollywood story. It's about resilience, reinvention, and the power to rise even when the spotlight fades. From misunderstood kid to pop culture icon to award-winning actor, he proved that true cool doesn't come from the leather jacket or the fame. It comes from never giving up. So what do you think? Were those studio rules necessary, or did they steal something from one of TV's greatest legends? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you love deep dives into the untold stories of Hollywood's biggest icons, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon, because there's always more waiting behind the curtain on the Backstage Eyes.